Welcome back to another episode of Journal Time. Alright, I need you to make sure that you have these two papers from the mailbox system. They should be right below the ones that we did just before this, so make sure that you have both of those papers. We're also going to need our handy dandy glue stick. We're also going to need a pair of scissors, and then last but not least, you always need a pencil. Beautiful, make sure you've got those things. Then we're going to pop over to our table of contents and make sure that we add in the next two entries for our table of contents. Make sure that you have pages 25 to 26, wants versus needs, which is what we did in the last episode of Journal Time, and pages 27 to 28, goods and services. You rock! All right, now we're going to go ahead and turn to our page 27 and 28. We are going to trim out both of these two little sheets here, where it says worksheet number 1 is going to go on 27, and worksheet number 2 is going to be cut and glued onto page 28. Great. All right, we're going to take our pencil and take a look at these next few pages here and talk about the blanks and fill things in as we go. So if we take a look over here, at the top it says, a good is something that is intended to satisfy wants or needs of a customer. And so if we look over here at our big idea, a good is something people want or need that can be held or touched, whereas a service is a work that people do for customers. I think that it's important to underline and think about that a good is something that is held or touched, whereas a service is more of a work that people do. And so if we look at the first one here, it says write the word that best completes each statement. A blank is work for people do for customers, whereas a blank is something people want or need that can be held or touched. Well, if we look at our definitions right there, I think that we can figure those out. A service is something of work that people do for customers, whereas a good is something that people want or need that can be touched. And so if we look at some examples here of goods, shoes, computers, umbrellas, etc. Examples of services, lawyers, cooks, and pet sitters. And down here, our next part is write the word that best describes each statement. Lawyers, cooks, and pet sitters all provide. Well, they provide those services that people want or need. And clothes, umbrella, and computers are all goods. You guys are crushing it. If we take a look at the bottom here, it says, what are 3 goods a cook might need to provide his or her service? Well, if we think about what tools they might need, some capital resources, we might think of an oven or utensils or counter space. And if we think of more of our natural resources, we might think of like eggs or milk, spices, etc. So the balance of goods and services. To provide a service, generally goods are needed. Beautiful, that's the first page. Let's pop a look over here at the second one. It says, which of these are goods? Circle 4 or more answers. The first one is done for you. So if we take a look at this one here, I want you to try it by yourself first and double check your answer. If you said 3, 5, 7, and 9, you are correct. Those are the things that can be held or touched by the consumer. Part B here says, which of these provides services? Circle 5. Go ahead and see what you've got. If you said 2, 4, 6, 7, and 8, that's me, then you are correct, because I don't really know how a pizza can provide a service other than being super yummy and delicious. All right, letter C here, it says circle 1 word or term in each row that is a good. So if you're looking here, 1, this is a row that goes across. 2, this is a row that goes across. So for number 1, if I'm looking at scientist, police officer, milk, or car wash, I'm thinking of the good definitely being the milk. So go ahead and do 2 through 5. So number 2 is the shirt. Number 3 was the car. 4, football. O-H-I-O. And 5 is the hammer. All right, last but not least here, letter D, it says circle 1 word or term in each row that best describes a service. So again, looking at number 1 as a row all the way across, if I think about, hairdresser, shirt, computer, or baseball, which one's a service? I'm going to assume here that the hairdresser is the service. So go ahead and do 2 through 5 first. So number 2 was the scientist, that is a service, and then number 3 was the painter, 4 the dentist, and 5 the actor. Again, thinking about services as something that cannot be held or touched, work people do for consumers. And if we look at the last one here, it says, think ahead, what services could someone provide with these goods? Lawnmower, gas can, wheelbarrow, and mulch. How about landscaping? Or gardening? or maybe even something like a naturalist. Someone who studies the environment. All right, you've done an awesome job thinking about the difference between goods and services. Let's see what you've got on a few questions on your own. You guys have got this.